Ooh, my camera's done. How's it dying already? Oh gosh. Hey wealth builders, in this video I'm giving you guys a quick crash course on renter's insurance. So we're going to go over what it is, what it covers, where you can find renter's insurance, and why you should get renter's insurance even if it's not required. Hello once again, and welcome back to The Bemused, where we are making sense of all things money for young adults just like myself. So if you're into that kind of thing, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that you don't ever miss a post. So renter's insurance, what is it? So it is essentially what it's called. It's insurance that's designed for renters. It's a type of homeowner's policy, and if you want to get technical, it's called an HO4 policy. So homeowner's policy type 4, that's renter's insurance. If you're living somewhere that you do not own, renter's insurance is for you. And that includes renting a room in someone else's home. Or even if you're not paying rent for where you're staying, maybe you're an exchange student or an au pair, you should still consider getting rental insurance. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit. So what does renter's insurance cover? And I'm actually gonna do this by looking at my own renter's policy so you guys can see exactly, with a real life example, the types of things that renter's insurance typically covers. So the first thing I have here is personal property coverage. So this covers anything that you own, literally anything. Your clothes, your furniture, the camera that I'm recording with, TVs, anything like that. Anything that belongs to you is covered under your personal property. So if it's stolen, if there's a fire, anything like that that causes you to have your property destroyed, that is the coverage that will kick in to replace whatever has been lost. And also personal property coverage typically covers you anywhere in the world. So for example, if I'm traveling and my suitcase gets stolen, I can put in a claim for that. And there really is no standard limit. You really just choose your coverage based on how much things you have and what they're worth. So my policy, and this policy is actually shared with my roommate, our personal property coverage is a limit of $20,000. So we're covered up to that amount. And then also if you have any super high ticket items, like if you have a really expensive camera or just really valuable things, maybe an engagement ring or something like that, that you want to put special protections and special insurance on, you also have the option of listing out what they call valuable articles in your policy. And that makes it even more fireproof if something really high ticket like that went missing. Fortunately, or unfortunately, I guess, I'm not at that level yet. So when I get something that expensive, I'll let you know. The second thing that's listed on my policy is loss of use. And so that is essentially if there's a fire, if there's anything that makes your home uninhabitable, or if it's something that needs to be repaired, something like that, that makes your apartment or wherever you're staying uninhabitable, and you have to leave, you have to get a hotel or something like that in the interim, that's where loss of use kicks in. So they will pay up to, I think my limit on here is $6,000 if something like that were to ever happen and we had to leave the apartment. Next is personal liability, and this is a huge one. So typically if you're renting an apartment and your complex requires you to have renter's insurance, this is typically the reason why they require you to have renter's insurance, because they want to make sure that if you destroy something happens on the property that's your fault, that they're not going to be on the line for it. So if you start a fire, they're not on the line for it. They're going to be coming to your insurance policy first to try to recoup the money that it's going to cost to, replace and rebuild their property. So most apartment complexes that do require you have insurance, they will usually mandate that you have about $200,000 to $300,000 worth of personal liability insurance. My apartment complex that we moved to right now is a little extra. They require a minimum of $500,000. So I actually had to switch policies, switch carriers when I moved here, because the carrier I had before didn't even have options available up to that limit. So I had to get a whole new insurance policy so that I was able to have $500,000 of personal liability coverage. Next is medical payments, and I'm covered for medical payments up to $1,000. So this would kick in if anybody gets injured while they're inside of your apartment, regardless of who's at fault. Whether it's your fault or their fault, somebody gets injured, we have up to $1,000 that we can put in a claim for injury to others while they are in our space. And the last provision that our policy has is for fungi, mold, or bacteria coverage. So if we ever develop a mold problem or anything like that, that's where that would kick in. Funny enough, I know people right now who are going through a very serious mold issue, and so these types of provisions can really come in handy. Now, another aspect of renter's insurance that's super important is to know your deductible. So the deductible, and this is important not just for renter's insurance, but for just insurance in general. So your deductible is the amount of money that you have to essentially forfeit if you make a claim. So for example, if I put in a claim that, you know, my clothes all got destroyed and now I need $1,000 to replace my wardrobe, for example. So the insurance company, instead of sending me $1,000, they'll only send me $750 because $250 is my deductible. So that's essentially what you have to come out of pocket with, in essence, if you make a claim. So my deductible on my policy is $250. There are policies with different deductibles out there. I mean, for renter's insurance, typically your deductible will be anywhere from $100 to $500. It really depends on the policy you decide to go with. Some carriers allow you to choose your deductible, and that will make your premium either increase or decrease. So if you opt to go with a higher deductible, most likely your premium is going to be lower than if you were to opt for a lower deductible. So Akiva, you might ask, if I don't need to have renter's insurance, then why should I get it anyway? And here's why. Renter's insurance is like the cheapest insurance that you could ever buy in comparison to like your auto insurance or other homeowners policies or any other type of, you know, major insurance that you can get. Renter's insurance is relatively cheap. In my old apartment, they didn't have a requirement for renter's insurance, but I still got it anyway. So for my policy and everything I just told you guys about, my premium for the whole year is only $135. And that's pretty standard. You could even get it for less than that. So renter's insurance is very affordable, and honestly, you are gonna be so glad you got it in the event that you do need it. Like, you know, anything can happen. What if there's a fire in your apartment and you gotta go? Like, where are you gonna go? How are you gonna pay for this hotel, to feed yourself, to replace all of your things? So for such a small cost, in the grand scheme of things, it is so worth it. And going back to what I was saying earlier, even if you're just, you know, living in someone else's house and, you know, they have their homeowner's insurance, that's all good and dandy. But say, for example, you know, you cause a fire in these people's house, their homeowner's policy, even though they technically can't cover it because it's their house, because you're at fault, you just don't want to put yourself in a position where you're liable for your negligence. Or if any of your contents are damaged or missing, you know, you don't want to have to rely on your landlord to, you know, make a claim on their policy for your stuff. And they probably won't, to be honest, because that's just a big hassle and that's increasing their costs. Renter's insurance to me is just too affordable to pass up. And it's a decision I'm pretty sure that you won't regret, especially if you end up needing to use it. Okay, so I'm convinced now. I understand all the benefits of renter's insurance, and I understand that it's really not a lot of money, and I want to get a policy. Where do I go? How do I get it? So there's a lot of ways in which you can get a renter's insurance policy. A lot of people like to start with their auto insurance carrier, and that's, you know, how I got my first renter's insurance policy. I just, you know, added it on to my car insurance policy, got that little multi-line discount going on, even though it's only was like $17, but whatever. So that's a good place you can go to start off with. How I got my car policy is that I ended up calling AAA. AAA also has their insurance connect, so they can connect you with some good insurance carriers. And another way is just to, you know, do your research online. I know a lot of people are like really hyped into like Lemonade and all these kind of new age, low cost, monthly digital companies doing insurance. So I mean, just do your research and, you know, find the company that works best for you. What I will say to look out for in a good renter's insurance company, you want to look at history of how claims are handled, because just because it's cheap or the best price or the best coverage doesn't mean that if you need to file a claim, it's going to be the smoothest process. Trust me, I'm the queen of fighting with companies, and I don't like doing that. So that's one thing you might want to look out for, is their reputation. They might want to give you a hard time if you put in a claim, and you don't want to have to deal with that. So that's a quick renter's insurance 101. If you got value out of this video, let me know in the comments below and leave any questions you have down there, and I would love to answer them for you. Before you go, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and hit the notification bell so that you never miss when we post new videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.